Hi, friends. This is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to have a conversation about American culture and how we're destroying a specific word that was fairly useful, and how we're doing a lot of damage to our society through the incorrect use of a very specific word. Okay, so the word is insane. Okay, now I'm a YouTube commentator, right? So I get people will come on and basically I will say something they disagree with, right? And then they'll say, "You are insane, you are delusional, you're crazy," right? And this is so common, and I see it everywhere. One of the and education doesn't protect from it. So what really shocked me is Sagar and Crystal, right, over on Breaking Points. I actually believe that Breaking Points is the new perfect model for news. To engage super smart people who are independent reporting on the news. I think they far surpassed CNN, CSN, MSNBC. That wasn't difficult. CNN, that wasn't difficult. Um, uh, the BBC is pretty good. I'm impressed. But I think they've even outpaced the BBC. But the BBC does do pretty good news. But Crystal and Sagar are super smart, educated professionals, right? But Crystal will frequently say, "That's crazy. That's insane. He's delusional," right? When she's talking about people's opinions on people's stances and opinions on politics, I'm like, this is a completely wrong use of this term. And the reason why I want to talk about this today is we actually had this right 30 years ago and we're devolving. Okay. Now, how do I know this? Well, I recently saw the film, David Fincher's fantastic film. It was just re-released on the big screen for its 30th year anniversary, and I got to see it, and it was powerful and awesome, and I was so glad to see it again on the big screen. It was a real honor. Brad Pitt plays Dave Mills, and Morgan Freeman plays William Somerset. Okay, um, and and it's grizzled detective and wise detective and emotional detective. Okay, so Morgan Freeman plays the wise detective, and emotional detective is played by Brad Pitt. And I'm just going to talk about them with those tags. That way, you don't need to remember who's who. All right. So wise old detective and emotional young detective. Those are the tags I'll use. So wise old detective, um, actually young young emotional detective says they're chasing John Doe and he's killed like three people at this point, and it's clear that they think he's going to kill seven people. He's killing one person for each of the seven deadly sins. So he's killed three, and he's on his way to killing seven, right? And it's also very clear that what he's doing is he's saying, so John Doe knows that people worship serial killers. This is very real. If you don't know, man, serial killers are never forgotten. There are books and books and books written on every single one of them. Our society honors them, right? We should not, but we do, right? So young emotional detective says John Doe is insane. And William Somerset, old wise detective, says, "Whoa, whoa, stop what you're saying there. You need to stop. No, no. You cannot see him as insane. That is dismissive, and he will utterly defeat you if you do not understand what he is, right? He is not insane. He is killing people, right? And Morgan Freeman says this over the whole movie, right? But this, I'm paraphrasing his entirety, what I believe old wise detective is saying. He's like, you cannot label him insane. And the reason why is, first of all, you're ignoring the facts. He's methodical and patient and effective, right? If he couldn't control his thoughts, he wouldn't be methodical, patient, and effective, right? He is doing terrible things, and you and you don't understand them, so you label it insanity. But you will never defeat him. You will never catch him if you think he's insane, because you're not trying to understand him, right? And sure enough, Old Wise Detective is 100% correct. John Doe completely plays young emotional detective. He defeats him in every possible way. He literally chops his wife's head off and puts it in a box. Right? What's in the box? Right? And he completely outmaneuvers him, because young emotional detective doesn't understand that insanity is the wrong word, right? Basically, and the reason why is young emotional detective is saying he's killing people. That's not sane. That's not rational, right? But the part that Old Wise Detective is saying is, wait, he's doing a thing that's wrong, right? It's not even wrong. It's immoral. It's against God, right? It's a sin. He's doing a thing that's a sin, but he's using that as a tool. He wants to be eternally famous. And if you don't understand his goal, you will not have any chance of stopping him, and you certainly won't understand him, right? And what terrifies me is we've reached a point, and I can tell you this because I get it literally every week, right? We have determined that if anyone says something we disagree with, we get to say, you are insane, right? Like, I don't need to. And oh, last thing, there's a scene at the end. John Doe is so there's a scene at the end, and John Doe is captured by young emotional detective, and he's in a car with young emotional detective and old wise detective. And young wise detective says, you're insane. Says it right to his face. And he says, and John Doe says, it makes you comfortable to label me insane. And then young emotional detective says, I'm very comfortable. And that's the entire point. We no longer use the word insanity to label a person who is in extreme mental health distress, right? And does not have control of their thoughts. We simply use the words insanity, delusion, and crazy in order we slap this label on anyone who says anything we disagree with. And it is so destructive to our society. And David Fincher understood this 30 years ago, right? And that's why the movie's being shown again, is because there's this core wisdom that we need to remember as a society. Anytime somebody disagrees with you, do not label them insane. Do not label them delusional. Do not label them crazy. Try to understand them, or you will be completely outmaneuvered by them. You will be the completely controllable, directable, commandable fool. Exactly like the young emotional detective was in Seven. David Mills, played by Brad Pitt. In my humble opinion, every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like subscribing and have a fetch millennium.